Hey guys, here to record the 9th episode. There's Drew checking out the 6 Point Brewery beer that we're about to be drinking. Kind of made this on a whim. We asked the guy at our brewery to give us advice on which New York beer, as you can tell I'm decked out in Yankees gear, would be the best one to drink today. And he pointed out this one. It's supposed to be super hoppy, so it's going to be an interesting beer to drink.
If you can see the alcohol volume on that thing, you probably can't. But it's 9.1% alcohol by volume.
Yeah,
So
this is going to be problematic.
Kind of scared a little bit halfway through the podcast today, guys.
Yeah, but it's going to be an odd one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Drew and I know what we're getting into, I'll be honest. It could be a mistake.
Could be a big mistake.
But it's going to be a fun one. So, yeah, just join in with us here as we go about the AL East preview. And then, that's it. We're already in spring training, so good times.
Spring training, actually, first game is next Friday.
Yeah. All right, Drew, you ready to record?
Yep.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to Cheap Seats, Baseball, and Beer. Today we're recording our 9th episode with baseball already underway. Well, catchers and pitchers reporting, right, Drew? So, great time for baseball, right, with everything about to happen. Soon games are about to start. Today we're going to be doing our AL East preview. As always, guys, please don't forget to subscribe on iTunes podcast, on Google Play, on TuneIn, on Stitcher. We also have accounts on SoundCloud. And please follow us on our social media web pages, which include Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, we are also open to communicate with you guys as well. Drew, what's our email account, man?
cheapseatguys@gmail.com.
Thank you. And also, in case you guys do want the widgets without actually having to look us up, go to our website at Cheap Seats Podcast, plural seats, .libsyn, LIBSYN.com. So before we begin our AL East preview, Drew, what beer are we drinking today, man?
This is called Resin. Okay. Seems kind of scary.
Isn't resin kind of like poison?
Kind of bad. It's kind of,
Oh, no, that's ricin.
I remember resin when I used to do marble, when I used to do marble and granite.
Ah, okay.
Like, it's not good for you to inhale, so, I'm sure it's not good enough to drink.
Explain the reason why this could be problematic.
So this is going to be really problematic, and the reason I say this, guys, and I apologize to begin with, because I don't know how the rest of my speech is going to be withheld. This is 9.1% alcohol by volume. Yeah. This is the strongest beer we have had to date. This is probably the strongest beer I've ever had in my life.
Okay, that's really?
Yeah, and I've never had hard beers. Some of the international beers, yeah, I guess, but I never really paid attention to their alcohol volume.
Oh, you've never tried the beers that I drink from California? Yeah, the ones that are like 14, 12%?
No, because that one that you got from California, the Wicked,
no.
but...
No, I'm talking about like the big one.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this one goes, guys. So, Resin from 6 Point Brewery out in Brooklyn, New York. Cool little design on the can. I actually am kind of digging that design. Yeah. It's a nice little slim, taller can.
I was going to say, if we had like a can award, this would be my favorite design.
Oh, the El Chingon was pretty nice with the pop.
Yeah, the pop with the pull top. Cool, yeah.
Which I like, if you check on our Instagram page, that review was up, and the review for the last one is up. But
Drew didn't really like it, but you guys know, you listen, so.
But we'll talk about this one here later on in the podcast. I'm actually really looking forward to trying it.
Let's go ahead and pour this thing out and see how it tastes. As always, guys, we will give you guys the review at the end of the podcast. Well, Drew will give you his take, and then I'll give you guys mine. And then afterwards, we'll go ahead and post this on Instagram as soon as possible.
Ooh, the color's nice.
Yeah, I really like the color. Again, less foam, which is the Maui Wowie beer.
That depends how you pour it, dude.
Oh, well then you got to learn how to pour. Maybe it's your problem. Maybe that's more like your fault rather than mine.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so cheers.
Cheers from the Cheap Seats, guys.
Cheap Seats. Go ahead and take our first sip.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I already know how this is gonna go. All right, guys.
Again, apologize, guys.
Yeah. Drew gets a little sweary when he starts drinking.
Like a sailor.
Yeah, like a sailor. That's his thing. Like, if you guys notice how the podcast progresses, it's funny. Before I get into baseball, just a side little thing. But like the first couple of episodes, I didn't rate them explicit. But then, as this has gone on, I've just started rating them explicit. Because, like, as you drink, I guess, you start swearing. More Drew, though. I've kept my which is kind of not how it is in real life.
Oh no! In real life, this dude is like off the charts.
I have a mouth of a sailor for sure, but I guess when we're drinking on this podcast, Drew takes that mantle from me. But
he's watching out for the young ones.
I just want the young people to know.
Frankly, I don't care.
Okay, that's fair. I just want the young people to know that swearing is not cool. It's totally cool.
In front of your parents.
In front of your exactly. I'm just kidding, guys. Well, maybe I don't know. Anyway. So to start off our discussion, let's go ahead and talk about the divisional standings here in the AL East. We had the Baltimore Orioles rounding out the bottom at 75-87. The Blue Jays coming in at 76-86, so not much difference between the two at the bottom. The Rays at 80-82, and then the two at the top, Yankees making it all the way to the ALCS via the wild card one spot at 91-71. And the Red Sox at 93-69 winning the division, but then losing out to the Houston Astros, the obviously inevitable World Series champs. So to start off here, I kind of wanted to get into the team levels a little bit before we get into the player discussion or just like overall preview. The Baltimore Orioles, who are last, we'll start with them. They had a payroll of $164.3 million, which ranked 10th in the in baseball. Their players didn't really spend too much time on injury at all. They combined, if you were to count out all the players they had, they spent a total time of 527 days absent, which ranks fifth best. So basically, they weren't on the lower end of having injury time. So out of the time spent during the entire year injured, they only had 12% of the time of their team spend the entire year injured, or ranked number 10. And finally, their farm system isn't really ranked that well. It's 23rd in baseball according to Baseball Prospectus. So they have some pieces down there, but nothing too special.
Yeah.
When I first originally read these stats, especially when talking about the team, kind of discussed this with you. It seems like the Orioles specifically maximized their talent because they didn't have that many players injured. Those players that were injured didn't really spend too much time of the season injured. So in reality, this is their year last year was basically up to their true potential.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that has a lot to do with Showalter. As I've always been a Showalter fan.
He's a good manager.
He doesn't have a lot of the awards and a lot of the rings that other managers do, but he is a damn good manager, and he knows how to play the full potential of a team.
Yeah,
he knows how to really do that. He knows how to get the most out of his team.
Yeah,
and he did it with this team.
Yeah.
The only thing I am questioning is how does this year go? Because there's a few guys that are going to be major free agents next year. Mm-hmm. His contract is up. Showalter's contract is up. Right. Dan Duquette's contract is up. So there's a lot of team changes, and then there's a lot of front office changes that could happen with this team. So I know people are talking is this a win now for the Orioles? But in this division, I don't see it happening, unfortunately.
Well, the Orioles are kind of in that awkward position now where you're absolutely right. They're kind of stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
Where they haven't truly committed to a rebuild.
Yeah.
And they're not really, you don't see them in contention yet.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately they still have so much money on the payroll in Davis, Trumbo, Jones. And then they have, and Machado obviously, but Machado is not that expensive because he's still in his first term. But they have these players who are talented on their own right, but not really outside of Machado and what's it called? I forgot their set. Jonathan Schoop. You're not really getting these players to be superstars anymore. Those two are really carrying the team. Adam Jones is above average, but he's not great anymore.
Yeah.
He's out because his position. He probably shouldn't be playing center field, to be honest. He's kind of getting to that age now where he's starting to slow down. He's getting to that McCutchen territory, or maybe it's good to move him to the corners.
Yeah.
So. And when you're not getting the production you need from Chris Davis and Mark Trumbo, like that last year that kind of deflated, you're kind of going to be in a rough spot. And combine that with their issues on the pitching front, they didn't really have any solid pitching last year. Then, you are where you are.
Yeah, to me, after Gausman and Bundy, they're pretty much done in pitching.
Right.
They have no back end, middle to back end pitchers, which in this league nowadays isn't going to get you far.
Well, and let's be blunt with this team. I really like the Orioles, but they in probably a year or two they're going to be in rebuild mode because Machado's not going to come back. He's going to be gone next year. There's no way he resigns, and that's their talent.
Then do you, as an Orioles organization, Do you trade that?
You try to, but you won't get the same return because teams are afraid. I mean, that was the issue when they tried to trade him. Teams are afraid of getting him because he refused to commit to a long-term extension, and then giving up top prospects for something that could be a one-year rental.
Okay, but what if you're a team that's in the running that's at the top?
Yeah. Oh, in like the midpoint of the season.
That's the midpoint of the season where you're like, you know what? Kind of like the Astros, a Verlander move can get you over the top,
or Chapman with the Cubs.
Exactly.
Right.
Do you trade him? And I mean, there's some teams out there right now that I would say, you know what? I mean, even here's the thing, and we'll talk about this here later on. Even the Yankees, they have a big question mark at third base.
Right.
And I know this guy wants to play shortstop. He wants to go back to his minor league days.
Right.
And I'm not taking anything away from that because the dude's a monster.
Defensively, yeah.
Defensively, Machado is a beast.
Right.
But do the Yankees make that trade midseason to say, hey, we can have you for half the season, try and get that World Series this year?
Knowing that it is the Yankees, and right now they're basically considered to be one of the front runners to sign him anyway.
Yeah.
Because they have the second best farm system in baseball, as we'll talk about later on. I could see that. I could absolutely see them doing that, and I don't think that's as big a risk because they've done such a good job keeping their talent in all the major acquisitions and all the major trades they've done that at this point they have that room to now trade away a top 10 prospect or two for a guy like Machado and then be like, look, we're the best you can possibly get. We're the Yankees. Sign with us, and then stay.
So that's the thing. I mean, as an Orioles organization, do you still try and trade them?
I think you do. I think you play your cards right now because you're not going to get as much return for him, and then you do try to send him.
Yeah.
You try to ship him out to a high bidder who is probably going to be in World Series contention like the Yankees. I mean, honestly, out of all the playoff teams you have, the Yankees are probably the best bet to take that because they were talking about the White Sox. The White Sox are unreasonable. There's no reason for the White Sox to get him for a 1-year rental.
No, but I think the White Sox are a great move if they can land him in free agency.
Right, but there's no way like that. That's the White Sox have been talking about that. About adding a guy like him, Arenado, because that would advance their rebuild they would take it to another level, and absolutely. But I kind of discussed that you have higher market teams, and then you have the White Sox. It's going to be hard for them to attract a person of Machado's caliber. Because let's be honest, last year, a team will probably try to say, oh well, he had his worst year last year. He hit, in the mid 200s, so he's not as good as advertising. They'll probably try to sucker the Orioles, but they're going to be full of BS. You want to know why? He had the batting average of balls in play last year was obscenely low.
Yeah.
It was in the high 200s, which means that anytime he hit the ball, it was either a direct hit or he was getting out. He never got lucky. So that average is going to bump up to 280, 290, his normal stead, and then he'll go up in home runs and RBIs because he already had a successful home run and RBI dig last year.
Yeah.
So I fully expect Manny Machado to be the exact same beast he was last year. And honestly, from a offensive standpoint, next year, the Orioles, they should be good because I do like Jonathan Schoop. I do like Machado.
Isn't it Scope?
Scope? My bad. I don't know why I call him Schoop. It's the SCH. Man.
Yeah.
But so I do like Adam Jones. Obviously, Adam Jones is Mr. Consistent. He's going to provide to you what he's going to provide to you. Now, if we see a slight rebound from Chris Davis or Mark Trumbo in terms of their power and RBI output, then you're looking at a team that could potentially be top 10, top 6 offensively because they do have some good. Good players in the lineup. It's just their pitching is so atrocious that.
Well, I honestly wanted to say I think they actually had the most home runs last year out of any team.
Right.
They have the firepower.
Yeah, they do.
But it does come down to a few players.
Right.
Like you said, Chris Davis and Mark Trumbo need to bounce back.
Yeah.
For those type of guys. When Chris Davis was with the Rangers, I liked him. I think he had a high strikeout rate, too high of a strikeout rate, and I always thought he was never going to really be a superstar. Then in 2015, 2016 maybe, he went on that massive tear in the beginning of the season.
That was 2012.
It wasn't that long ago.
Dude. No, dude, that was a while ago.
He was on pace to win. He was on pace to hit 60
I know what you're talking
runs.
about. I know that was 5-6 years ago, man.
Oh wait, was it?
Go look it up. Look it
I'll
up. Yeah.
look it up here a little bit, but
okay.
He needs to get back to a form.
Well,
better than a 215.
What people are comparing him to is he reminds them of an Adam Dunn. He's just more of just a pure power, low average guy, and then you get into that territory of you're asking yourself, is that really valuable for your team to have that guy in the middle of your order?
Yeah.
Sure, he'll have those power numbers where he maybe has the potential of hitting 40 and getting 100 RBIs, but is that really benefiting your team? No. Because those guys always just hit empty. The majority of the time they hit empty home runs with empty ribbies, and they don't contribute to a winning ball club. So, but I think discussing the hitting lineup is kind of missing the point, and I know that's not what you mean to do or what I mean to do. It's just you can't really say much about their pitching because it just is what it is.
Yeah.
You don't have, in my opinion, you're not going to see, improved output from Mike Wright, Gabriel, and Noah. And from my understanding, their bullpen, their pitching arms in the minor league system, they don't really have much going on. So they could try to build internally from a pitching perspective, but
no, they needed to flirt with free agency pitching if they wanted to be there.
So, that's a good point. From that perspective alone, since they didn't, it kind of looks like they're probably already starting to recognize that, well, our position really isn't in contention anymore.
That's true, but here's the bad thing is if you're an organization, if I was an organization and you go through what people are calling the rebuild phase and you go through what it's calling down the teardown phase, then that should have happened this season.
Right.
You should have traded Machado. You should have gotten rid of Adam Jones.
Well, you mean last season. They should have done it last year when they could have maximized his potential. Because now they're putting teams into that awkward 1-year rental position. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
I totally agree. But, you wanted to at least try and keep Manny Machado. I feel, to me, Manny Machado is one of those players that I look at him and I look at his age and I'm like, holy crap, I feel like this guy's been in the league
for decades.
Years.
He feels like a
he's
veteran.
Only 25 years old.
No. His potential, dude, he's going to be in Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
He's going to be remembered as one of the greatest people.
And I think there's teams out there that will take a 1-year
chance on him.
Who
are in contention.
Well, you're correct. And that's a good thing you said that.
Here's my question. Out of the teams that we perceive to be there but not there, as in they're not the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Astros, the Red Sox, the Cubs. Because those teams aren't going to trade for 1 year because they have enough pieces and they're except the Yankees. Mm-hmm. Forget about the Yankees. Out of every other team that's in the playoff mix, do you see them having either A, the capacity or B, just the will to actually trade for a guy like him?
So,
what team do you see doing that?
Honestly, the only teams I would have seen is the Cubs. The Yankees.
Addison Russell isn't going to go anywhere.
Well, here's the thing. There was talks about trading Addison Russell for...
Put him in there? It would be smart, but they would need a commitment.
But then that's the thing. They needed a commitment because that's a risk. Either you lose... Either you're going to lose one or you're going to lose both of them if you didn't have that commitment.
Props to Addison Russell.
Absolutely.
He's a good player, and he's going to probably end up being a great one, but... If you have the availability of getting Machado, you trade his ass.
I love Addison Russell. I have an Addison Russell T-shirt at home.
Right. He's a good ball player.
It's Manny Machado, man.
You can. There's not much you can say.
Much you can say.
Yeah,
their two don't compete right now, and like you said, Addison Russell will be a better player maybe later on. Not better than Machado,
but better overall.
Better overall.
Right.
But that was a thing. The team that honestly had the best reason to go and get him was the Yankees. As much as I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Because...
that'll put them over the edge.
The third base is a big question for them right now.
Yeah.
And I know they have some young talent that can fill in. Torres, I think. Torres is going to be their third baseman. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be there's a question mark there.
Right.
And he would fill that. Other than that, there's really not... Astros are set. Dodgers are set. Maybe a team like the Brewers.
That's what I was going to say.
But
the Brewers, the Diamondbacks, the Rockies,
the Cardinals.
The Cardinals, right. Then the Mariners, the Angels. Actually, the Angels would be a good fit for him.
Yeah, Angels would have been a good fit.
That would be a really good fit for him because
that would have been a scary team.
Exactly. They still need to work out. They still need to work out their pitching.
Yeah.
But overall, I would like having Machado there. That would make them dangerous, obviously. But
I think to me, looking forward to this team, looking in the future for this team. They have the talent as far as offensively.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're good as well. Don't get me wrong. It's the pitching staff, man. Yeah. And I'm sorry, without a pitching staff in this day and age, you're facing some damn good talent in the AL East.
Yeah.
You're not going to compete. And I'm not just talking about Red Sox, Yankees. I'm talking Blue Jays, Rays. You're facing some top-notch talent. And to me, I think maybe they'll grab a few extra wins, maybe, but I still see them bottom of the pack.
Yeah, and I agree. I actually think the Orioles will kind of have a little bit of a drag back. I think they're going to be in a 70 win. I don't think they're going to be mid 70s. Probably they'll lose about 3 to 5 games on what they had last year.
And also the other thing that's going to hurt them a lot, Zach Britton's out for, I think, like first couple months of the season. So, I mean, having a closer like that on the DL.
When they're already weakened from a pitching perspective, it's just going to get worse.
Hard.
Yeah, it's going to get worse. But anyway, so we obviously know where the Orioles are going to be. Let's go ahead and move on to the Toronto Blue Jays. Comparatively speaking, I was kind of surprised by this, but the Blue Jays are actually pretty competitive from a payroll perspective. They're ranked 11th in the league with $163.4 million spent. What kind of did them in last year, they actually had a lot of people injured.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of injury time. They were ranked 27th in injury time spent, which means that they were basically at the bottom of the league. They had a lot of time missed, at 1,424 combined days from all their players, and 19% of their time spent, that 19% of their team was injured, and they were ranked 21. Their farm system is actually pretty good, so they do have a bright future there. Specifically, they have a beast that's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who, as we've discussed in one of our top 3 in our Wheel of Baseball podcast, who we think that he could potentially be better than a Hall of Famer already. So that's something to look forward to.
He's a few years away, though.
Yeah, I'd say.
I'd say he's
two next year at the earliest, 2 or 3 years at the average.
That he may get a few games in next season, but I think 2 years from now
would be a good time.
It would be a good time.
So yeah, I mean, just looking at the team themselves, they have good pieces. I actually like, obviously Marcus Stroman, big fan of his. J.A. Happ, big fan of his. Their pitching staff after that kind of goes a little south, obviously. Their bullpen's okay. I wouldn't say it's...
Well, I don't think their pitching staff goes south after them.
Well,
they still have Marco Estrada. Marco Estrada is good. He didn't have a good year last year.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Aaron Sanchez is really good, but I think he only pitched 4 games last year.
Because he got injured.
Because of his finger. He had blister issues on his hands. Right. But that kid is good. That kid is really good. And I think if Estrada gets back to form with Happ, Stroman, and Sanchez, this pitching staff is formidable.
Right.
It's not top notch 1 through 5.
It's not Boston Red Sox great,
no,
or
Yankees
Astros
or Yankees.
Astros, yeah.
But it's a very formidable
it's good
lineup.
Enough, it's good enough to at least be in contention for a wild card too, in my opinion.
Now their relief system is a little question.
Not so much.
It's a little question mark that I'm not a big fan of. Their closer is a beast in Roberto Ozuna. But their middle relief system is a little bit something that I'm worried about. But I think they can come back from it, especially a guy like Tepera, I think his name is. He's good. They did add some pieces in the offseason. They added Curtis Granderson, who's probably, how old is he? 36?
Yeah, he's
getting up there, but man, the guy can still make some changes in the lineup. They got Grichuk from the Cardinals, who provides a good defense in right field. And then you still have Donaldson, Smoke, Morales. The big question mark
is Troy.
Yeah. Is Tulowitzki and then Devin Travis, their second baseman. Yeah. Because they believe, and here's the thing, the Blue Jays believe with a healthy Tulowitzki and Devin Travis, they have one of the best, if not the best,
middle infield. Middle infield, yeah.
And I can agree with them. I'd say one of the best because you're talking a very small select group of players that you can say that middle infield is good. Tulowitzki at his age is still a monster.
Right.
I mean, Tulowitzki is still one of the best shortstops to play the game. Then with Devin Travis to the right side, that kid is good if he can stay healthy.
Well, that's the problem. Like injuries and just I guess whatever that is has derailed, especially Tulowitzki. He just has not, since he got traded to the Blue Jays, he has not been able to play to his full potential.
Because I think they cut him off. I think they stopped Tulowitzki at August last year.
Right.
Which is going to hurt a team like this.
Right. But he's also, Tulowitzki's kind of makes me wonder if he's maybe a production of Coors Field in Colorado, and that's what worries me about him. It's since he's played on the Rockies, I get it. He's been on the Blue Jays. He's been injured. He's had some issues. But even when he's playing and when he's fine, it's just something's not there. Like, not the Tulowitzki that you were used to when he played for the Rockies. And that's my concern, is that maybe he just had inflated numbers because he played in Coors Field, and that unfortunately everybody who plays there, well, not unfortunately, fortunately for the Rockies, but unfortunately for any other team trading there, they're not going to get the same production. And that's actually always been kind of, like, we had that discussion about who's better, Arenado, Machado, and you said Arenado, I said Machado, and that's part of the reason why. There's something about Coors Field that I don't like when it comes to translating from one team to another.
Yeah.
And if you look at road to home splits between those players, most of the time the home splits for Rockies players are insane, and the road splits just kind of tamper down a little bit. So, can we really say that Troy Tulowitzki is as good as advertised when he was? I mean, maybe. I'm not saying he isn't. What I'm saying is he could just be what he is. Like, he may not be as good of a shortstop as people thought he was.
So defensively, I think he's always been a damn good shortstop.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking
defensive,
about that. I'm
offensively,
not talking about that. Right.
The numbers, yes, maybe a little construed, but if you go back to when he actually signed with the Blue Jays,
yeah,
his average actually went up.
But he just couldn't produce
home runs
power. Right.
Went down.
Right.
And that's a product of Coors Field.
Right.
And also Tulowitzki, even when he was with the Rockies, has always been one of those players that unfortunately is sat out for a few games because of injuries.
But let me ask you, what inherent value does a player, like, outside of the defensive end, does Troy Tulowitzki have as much value when he's just hitting for average as he did? Because I think when you sign him, you kind of expect him to be a power bat.
But here's the thing: as a position player, as a shortstop,
you're not
looking for a power shortstop.
That's true.
And that's my thing. Tulowitzki is still one of the better shortstops in the league.
That's true.
If he can stay healthy, he bats for average. He's not going to have the pop, but then again, when you have a Josh Donaldson and a Justin Smoke on your team,
right,
you don't need that shortstop power.
That's a good point.
You don't need that. I mean, Donaldson and Smoke have to continue their home run abilities. They have to continue their average abilities. Donaldson is in a contract year,
right,
which could be good for him, but then can be bad for the Blue Jays. I mean, I know he said he wants to stay in Toronto,
right,
but I mean, this team is good. To me, they're the sleeper team in this division.
That's a great point. I was just about to say the exact same thing. This team has. It's kind of like what team were we talking about recently? I think it was the Mets, right? Where we were saying, like, if everything goes right, the Jays don't even have to have everything go right. They do have the talent inherently to just, as long as things go as they should, they're going to be fine.
Yes.
But again, it's kind of what we discussed. They had so much injury time last year. That has to have an impact on your team.
Absolutely.
And of course, that gave them a 76 and 86 record. And don't forget, it was only a couple of years ago where they were considered to be one of the threats to be a World Series contender because they had all that firepower. I mean, of course, they don't have Batista anymore, and they shouldn't because he's older now and he's starting to lag behind. So that's not going to make a big difference. I do like. First of all, big fan of Justin Smoke. What a revelation he is. He has become with the Jays. Good for them for recognizing his talent, and good for him for exploiting his opportunity and becoming the power bat that he is. Again, I'm not sure if it's maybe that the ball was juiced that he's starting to play that well. No, I don't want to. I don't want to say anything. Like, obviously, they're baseball players. They're all talented.
Yeah.
So if it's just him finally realizing his full potential, or if it's just the ball's juice, he'll know. We'll see. We'll see next year. But I mean, looking at what I see now. Like you said, starting pitching, I think you're right. If things go the way they should absolutely be a good pitching staff. They're not a top 5 in the MLB. They should be top 10 somewhere there.
No, I think they're top 10.
Right.
I think that pitching staff all depends on Aaron Sanchez. It all depends on him. It's because, like I said, he has electric stuff.
Right.
But if he's gonna be,
and he's young.
If he's going to be having blister problems, throwing the ball at 95 miles an hour, then they're going to have a problem. Right,
and they're not going to find depth in their minor league system either for pitching. They have some pitching prospects down there. They have Zoik, they have Reed Foley, Pearson, but they're not really ready, in my opinion. To be up there yet, at least looking at their numbers, they don't look like they're going to be ready anytime soon.
Yeah.
So their talent in the farm system will only come in to fill holes in the batting lineup.
Yeah.
And at the moment, most of the talent that they have outside of Anthony Alford, is kind of too young. So you can't. It kind of is, and especially like Troy Tulowitzki's blocking off the shortstop. They have Logan Warmoth, so he's not going to be coming in anytime soon either. So the pitching staff will have to go ahead and do it on their own because they're not going to sign anybody. Yeah. That's for sure.
No.
They're going to have to fix that whole... Like, they're going to have to all come back to their norms outside of Marcus Stroman, Jay Happ, who pitched well last year. A guy like Aaron Sanchez, he's supposed to do better on his own. Same with Estrada. I'm not sure about Biagini. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about him. I'm not sure if he has the capacity to improve significantly, but he is a prototypical fifth starter, so it's not like
he's the one. I mean, the roster isn't set yet, so we don't know for sure if he's going to be the fifth or not.
So it could be anybody.
It could be anyone.
Right.
This is the projected lineup that you're looking at. So, I mean, it could be him. It could not be him. I don't know. Well, it's hard to say.
But the point remains the same. Like, if the first four guys in Happ, Stroman, Estrada, Sanchez, they perform to their capabilities, then you're talking about a team that's probably ready to, at least be in the mid-80s or in the 80-win category.
If all goes well.
If all goes well. Right.
They're kind of like, I would kind of relate them to a New York Mets team.
Yeah.
Where a lot of things have to go right for them. But this team has it. I have big question marks, and I still think the Mets could be there.
Slight difference, though, in the sense that I think Toronto has a lower floor. The Mets Toronto has a higher floor. The Mets have a lower floor. As in, Toronto, at their worst, is probably still going to be at 76 wins. At their best, they'll be mid-80s to high 80s. The Mets, on the other hand, at their worst, could be in the 60s.
Yeah, and looking at numbers-wise, looking at win-losses.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the projection, the capability of winning is more in favor of their Jays if you were to compare the Mets and the Jays. You know?
But I think this, what I meant to say is, it really hinders on their pitching. If their pitching stays healthy, both teams can be a lot better than what they were last year.
Right.
Because both their pitching staffs were just diminished with injury.
Yeah.
So if these pitching staffs can stay healthy, especially the Blue Jays, it could be better. I do see him probably jumping up to lower to mid 80s.
Right.
I do probably still see him in a third place though, ahead of the Rays.
Oh yeah.
Talking.
Well, we'll get to the projections at the end, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give them the jump too. I'm gonna go with 82 wins. I'm gonna give them 82-80.
Yeah.
Slightly away from wild card 2. The wild card 2 spot, but good enough to kind of be an exciting team to watch. Like if you're a Jays fan, then again, I don't know. 500 teams kind of tend to give you the feeling of wanting to rip your hair out.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe Jays fans will want to do that ultimately. So let's go ahead and move on then to the Tampa Bay Rays, who, for the life of me, keep on doing this year to year. Excellently run franchise. Because, look at this. They have a $70.1 million budget, 28th ranked in the league. They had the 29th ranking for injury time, 1,465 total days spent by all their players on injury. And that means that not only did they have a diminished payroll, but the players they did have were injured all the time.
Yeah.
But somehow they were still able to scrape 80 wins and 82 losses, which is so impressive. But, it's the Rays. They've been doing this for years now where they're just consistent as heck. And honestly, I thought this was a Joe Madden thing, but it still continues to happen since Joe Madden's departed. So another good thing for the Rays, they still have a lot to look forward to from a future, according to Baseball Prospectus. They do have the 6th ranked baseball system currently in the minors, and that's true. Right? They have Brent Honeywell, who's going to be a stud most likely, and he's going to be called up any day now. He could be starting at the beginning of the year, midway through the season, or even a couple months in. And they have Willie Adames, who's a shortstop. He's probably going to be up there sooner rather than later. So they do have potential to, again, fill in holes without spending much money.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the definition of who the Rays are. But, this is kind of what we discussed. Obviously, you think that there's going to be a decline now. You think that the trade of Evan Longoria makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of like the theme? You don't think that you think this year? Or do you think they're going to bottom out, or do you think they're just going to be slightly worse?
I think they're going to be slightly worse. I don't think they're going to bottom out and I don't think they're going to fully hit a wall of some sort.
Uh-huh. Sorry, guys, getting a beer.
I think it's going to be more I think it's just going to be slightly less. I mean, because they do have some players to fill in for Longoria. They have a Matt Duffy, which he's good. I mean, it's no Longoria, but Matt Duffy is a good player. They did pick up some outfielders. They still have Kevin Kiermaier, who's a damn good defensive center fielder, but he's also good at the plate. Steven Souza Jr., who has a lot of power.
Yes.
Who's really good with that. So I don't think it's a bottom out. I think it's just you lose a few games and you lose a position in the place. Their pitching staff is decent. I mean, their pitching staff is really good.
And funny,
I like their pitching
there's
staff.
room for improvement on their pitching staff.
Absolutely.
I think Archer's not going to pitch at a 4.07 ERA clip.
I don't think so. I think Archer's better. But then again, like when you start talking about, there's still a possibility of him getting traded. If he gets traded, I'm sorry. Then you're bottoming out.
Then you bottom out.
Then you bottom out.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, we don't know yet. The spring season just started, and there's still talks of people getting traded. There's still talks of all this stuff. And to me, with them, I think they need to bring up some of their younger talent.
Right.
To start playing in these games.
Yeah, I think Brent Honeywell is going to go up there. He's probably going to replace.
I think he did so well in the what's it called, the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
That I think he is going to get some time this year.
He's going to replace their fifth, Matt Andriesi. I think he's.
Oh, I think he can slide into their third. I mean,
after
Blake Snell.
Oh, what I'm saying, but who's going to drop off? It's going to be Matt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's going to be their fifth starter. I'm saying that he's going to slot in for that player. So no, I absolutely agree. As a matter of fact, I would also whenever he's ready, Willie Adames, I'd be ready to call him up too. Because I mean, I like Hechavarria, but the talent from Adames, from every scouting report I've read, seems like he's going to be a stud. So if I was the Rays, I would consider calling both him and Honeywell up. And seeing if they can contribute to the system, to the team at any point in time. Yeah. Because, look, I get it. You lost Longoria, but let's be frank with Evan Longoria, right? He was on his way down when they traded him. Like, he's just getting older, and he's been a great / serviceable ball player for a long time. So, all credit to him. I love that he stayed with them for as long as he did, and I like now that he went to play somewhere that hopefully is competitive. But it's not like his loss is going to change this team to become, as you said, like they're going to have maybe a slight decline, but they're not going to be the worst team in baseball. Not even close.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, I know. I didn't. That's not what I'm not insinuating. I'm actually agreeing with you. I think they're going to have a slight drop off, not anywhere close to a big one. So, I kind of think if all goes as well, and knowing that the Rays are who they are, who they've always been, they'll honestly slot in a couple of guys, which they will inevitably do, and they'll probably be, in my opinion, as competitive as they were last year. Because it's just what the Rays do. They have maximized their potential for so many years now. They obviously know what they're doing. Can you imagine how good this franchise would be if they had money? Like, imagine how many titles they'd win if they could just put in. They don't even need to be a top 5 payroll. Give them like a top 10. And with this franchise, the way that they apply their talent, the way that they build their system, I mean, who knows, man? They could be a dynasty if they just had the money to do it.
But they've never been that.
No. I'm not saying. But what I'm saying, imagine. That's all I'm saying.
No. They've never been that team to go spend money and to go get a crazy amount of money. So it's always been a low budget team. Yeah. With tremendous talent.
Right.
Very, very tremendous talent, and I mean. I think they've been to the World Series. They've never won the World Series. No. But, I mean, it's just a well-run organization. You have a really good manager right now in Kevin Cash, in my opinion, who is like what's his name? Protege.
Madden?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I think we alluded to this a week ago or 2 weeks ago where, whenever we did the NL Central podcast, Madden kind of has this vibe of like being the what's his name, the Popovich, Greg Popovich of the MLB, where whoever he touches inevitably turns to gold. Yeah, like if he has an underling working or studying underneath him, that person you better sign him up as a manager because that person's probably going to be good because he leaves that kind of impact on the people he's around.
Yeah, he has that Popovich-Belichick thing going on.
Right, exactly. So absolutely. I like everything the Rays are doing. I like their management. I like their team. I've always liked them in general because I just think that Like, if you're talking about teams that you can just respect from an organizational standpoint, the Rays define that. You know, they do it the right way. If there is a right way to do it in baseball, they really have it. So, I mean, all props to them. I'm a really big fan of theirs.
I think it is. I think it's a few more years away before they really kind of step out. And especially because there are some holes. Like, they have the shortstop, like you said, Adonis, but they also have Christian Arroyo, who can be a shortstop, but he can also play third base.
Let me say something, though. This is kind of where I'm starting to get worried about teams like the Rays. The way baseball is currently situated, is it possible even because the ones who are really going to be the teams that run baseball are going to be the ones that combine payroll with minor league depth. So the Astros, the Yankees, probably the Red Sox at one point, right now, but they will soon. I'm sure they'll rebuild their farm system. They'll have a great one sooner or later. But teams who can do that, the Rays are never going to have the payroll. So in order to win titles nowadays, you need to slot in that starter or that superstar hitter. And the Rays are not going to do that. They're always going to be looking for internal depth.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it kind of worries me because I really do want the Rays to succeed. But the way baseball is headed now, I'm not sure that's possible.
It's one of those things because they have the depth, but are they going to want to spend the money when that depth when their rookie contracts are done? That's the question.
Right.
That's the big question.
Right,
because, like, let's take, for instance, and I'm looking years ahead. Right. Let's take a Brent Honeywell, who everyone's expecting to be a stud pitcher.
Right.
3-4 years from now, when his first contract's up, and he's demanding, probably in 4 years, they're going to be demanding $300 million the way these players are fucking wanting.
He's going to be like a Clayton. In order to do that, he's going to be like the best.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Like, let's assume 6 years on 20 million.
I'm jokingly, like, just emphasizing this whole off season of exaggerated contracts.
I don't know what you're saying, but okay.
Like, the whole thing is he's going to want all this money. Braves aren't going to want that. But then they're going to have other talent on their team.
Right.
Other good talent.
Right.
Who's also going to want money. And yes, you're right. They're not going to be able... But unless you're willing to spend that money to keep the team together...
Exactly.
There's no way
because think about it. Let's talk about these teams that have done it, the rebuild to contention now to being superstar teams. The Astros, they can afford to pay all their young stars, and they will. The Cubs... all their hitters, they will, and they're absolutely going to sign them for long-term contracts when they're ready to go.
Yeah. But see, then you run into a team like the Dodgers, like a Kansas City, who won.
Right. And are they going to be like Kansas? That's going to be because
they may win one,
and then they'll bottom out.
And then it'll kind of like we're going for the next rebuild because they're not sticking around with these players.
But see, that's exactly the problem. For lower market teams, the best case right now is that you have that like 1 or 2 year run where you hit your spot, everything goes right, and then boom, you win that one World Series, but then everyone's got to go.
It's going to happen for everyone. It's going to happen for your White Sox.
Well, the White Sox are a mid-market team. Yeah, they can afford like a $150, $160 million payroll. They'll never get up there with the Yankees or the Cubs, but they'll still be able to like sign a couple of their players. Yeah. As long as they can smartly maneuver their minor league system and their signings of their own talent, they'll be okay if they do it the right way. It's going to be about the management.
It all comes down to management.
Well, it's for the White Sox specifically because they're going to have to balance both.
Yeah.
Whereas teams like the Yankees, the Astros, the Dodgers, the Cubs, they don't necessarily have to, or the Red Sox. They can kind of like be like, let's just build a farm system. We'll just be able to pay anyone we want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's different. Whereas the Rays, they need to just continue building a farm system and hoping that everybody continues to pan out.
Yeah.
Because if they have a dead period where for 3 to 4 years they just do not have any prospects making in the big league system, they're going to run into that trap that the Padres have been in, where they're just horrible.
Yeah.
And they cannot win ball games for
But Padres have never also had a farm system, nor were they willing to spend money. But so there's the Rays are not that team.
No. But what I'm saying is anyone who consistently relies on their farm system has the capacity of falling into that trap of not recruiting correctly, getting unlucky, and just not having players develop, and then you'll reach that point where for 5 to 10 years you're playing horrible baseball because nothing you're doing is working out. And it's got a luck element. You can't just blame recruiting, scouting, all of that, because obviously you never know what players develop and what players don't. But what I'm saying is, I feel for the Rays because I really like their franchise, but I wish all teams in baseball had the capacity to spend money, but not like overspend where it's ridiculous, but the capacity to spend it kind of correctly. You know what I mean? Like, I wish each team could just say, okay, let's have at the lowest, a team needs to spend $150 million.
You won't get that. No, get cap space.
Right, absolutely. The entire league would have to close the structure the way that it creates the baseball salary caps and all that stuff. And baseball is never going to be a salary cap league. I mean, not in the foreseeable future, at least.
Yeah.
And plus, it would be weird to have baseball go into the cap system. So
it's hard. Like I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, but it's hard. I don't think it ever will. Do I think it should? Part of me says yes, because
for balance,
for balance and fairness, because you always run into these
super teams. Yeah.
Super teams. I mean, I don't even call them super teams. They're just well put together teams, but they're. I mean, yes, based on their money, based on their past. I mean, look what we just talked about. We're talking about Manny Machado possibly going to the Yankees next year,
right?
Which is, I mean,
insane,
stupid. Right. I mean, but there's a handful of teams that are that good, that are that well equipped,
right?
But their payroll is off the chart.
Right, exactly. So anyway, just to kind of cap up here on the Rays, I have the Rays kind of in the mid-70s in terms of wins this year. I don't think they're going to be a horrible team.
I think they go back. I think they regress to the mid-70s. They
regress a little bit, but not too much where they're horrible to watch or a bad team. So I still think, as a Rays fan, you're kind of happy about where you are as a baseball team. You know what I mean? So, you know what? As a Rays fan, I'm excited for the year because you get to inevitably you're going to see Brett Honeywell pitch in the majors, and you're probably going to see Willy Adames play in the majors as well. So if you're a Rays fan, you got some things to look forward to.
If you're a Rays fan that loves baseball, you got things to look forward to, and you like the way your aspect. If you're a Rays fan that just only cares about winning, sorry,
that's
I'm
true.
just going to be honest.
All right, so let's go ahead and head on out to the meaty part of this division. This is where we start talking about the big boys here. The Yankees, the New York Yankees, who are now the New York gods of...
and for those watching on YouTube, he's wearing a Yankees cap and shirt. He's only doing that for his wife.
It's true.
It's true. Not... Don't think that he's a fan. Because he hates the Yankees.
I don't hate... No, that's not true. I don't hate the Yankees. I respect the Yankees. I
can respect the Yankees now more than I did back in the 90s.
We didn't respect them back then, but now I think there's got to be a level of respect for the Yankees because they're doing it in a different way and they're doing it in a respectable way.
Yes, until next year. We'll find out next year.
You're acting kind of... You're being a little salty right now, Drew. I can see it in your face. You're kind of looking off into the distance like... God, I wish the Cubs were doing that.
I just want to let you know that he's doing this for his wife.
That's true. Okay. I am. She got me the shirt. I got myself the hat, but I got it for her. So Anyway, payroll perspective, the Yankees are the Yankees. Fourth highest payroll at $196.4 million. Didn't really have that many players on injury last year. They only had a total of 824 days, which ranked 10th. But where they're really making their dividends, and this is why I'm saying that I don't blame the Yankees anymore, is that freaking minor league system. Second ranked minor league system in baseball with a payroll like that. When you have Gleyber Torres, Chance Adams, Estevan Florial, just at the top three, and then you have a whole bunch of talent to follow up on that. I mean, this is a team that honestly, it's scary because what do we talk about when you have money and then you can plug in pieces at any point in time? I mean, this is a recipe to run the AL East and potentially the league for a long time, and that's scary.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think to me...
Pitching staff's the only weakness, by the way.
Yes. And I'll lay out my question marks for this team. But to me, going in the forward, this team is set up for the long run.
Yes.
But they're not the clear-cut favorites. I don't think there's any clear-cut favorites in them.
This is baseball.
This is baseball. Absolutely, This is baseball. I think they have the bigger names. They have the more stardom names because, let's face it, it is the Yankees.
Right.
They have the more. I mean, if you were to go to a town that didn't watch baseball and you said Aaron Judge, oh, Yankees, that's what you're going to get. Like, if you went to another town and you said, oh, George Springer, yeah, you're not going to know unless you watch the World Series.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. So this team is set up for the future. This team has a long run to go. They're going to be around for a long time. But there still is question marks.
Right.
And my question marks is, one, the starting pitching. Severino, as good as he is, I'm not taking anything away from him because he is a damn good pitcher. He's not consistent enough for me. He needs to be a little bit more consistent because he had up and down. 2016, he was horrible. Last year, he was good, but then he had his ups and downs. You're looking at his numbers. That's what you're looking at, and you're looking straight at his numbers, and you're saying, "Oh, he's a beast. He's this."
I'm not saying he's a beast. What I'm saying is, he's young, and he already produced this last year. So
I get that. So there's still a question mark for me because
but he wouldn't be the one that I would be like signaling out and be like, "Oh man, be careful."
No, there's going to be more. Like Tanaka's more of a question mark,
right? Like I'd worry about the
Sabathia's
agents.
age.
Those two are the ones you focus on.
Jordan Montgomery, Sonny Gray, those guys are question marks. Like,
Sonny Gray, no, but Tanaka and Sabathia, I'd agree with you.
Yeah, Severino to me is more of the Severino's like one of those question marks. Is he going to have a good year? Is he going to have a bad year? That's it. If he has a good year, he's going to be on point.
He's a question mark in my opinion, based on does he develop or does continue to develop or does he just stay or regress?
So it's one of those things. I mean, it's almost the same lines of does he do good? Does he not? I mean, because if he doesn't do good, he's off. Because I think that in 2016 he was horrible. He had like a 5-something ERA.
But he's young. I mean, the difference too what we're discussing right now, Drew, is you're making it sound like the dude's just inconsistent. What I'm trying to tell you is he's young. He looks like he figured it out last year, and there's a capacity that he might even get better, or stay the same, or slightly regress. But I think this is his ceiling. I mean, he's starting to get at this age. Normally, when a pitcher pitches this well, that means he is who he is, and he's not all of a sudden gonna start sucking.
Well, yeah, I think there's a question mark still. I'm gonna live with that.
But okay,
because I haven't seen enough.
Let me say one guy, and you and I have talked about this. The one guy from a hitting perspective who we think has a possibility.
Wait, we're still on pitching here. Don't go to hitting.
Man,
we're still on pitching here.
We can do more than one thing.
Why are you transferring? No, because then we're jumping back and forth. Stick with your pitching.
Okay, fine.
There's Sonny Gray and Jordan Montgomery. Those are question marks. You don't question their relief pitchers?
No, not at all. No,
I think they have the best relief
in
system in baseball.
Yeah, not even close.
Which is good. So I'm not even going to hit those guys. Chapman is a question mark, though. I mean, you can't question his 100-mile-an-hour speed.
Why? You know why he's not a question mark? Because you can slot in Chad Green, Tommy Kahnle.
You could,
and just call it.
You could keep him. You could keep him. That's actually a good, very point. But if you were to give it the ball to that guy, and we've said this before, you give it to him with more than 5 batters.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a surefire out. He's not a Mariano Rivera.
Nah.
He's a little bit wild.
That's
but
power arms. That's just how it is, man.
Yeah.
So
that's through their pitching. I mean, it's really their starting pitching that I have my question marks on.
I agree.
And going side by side with it, don't mean to cut you off.
All you ever do, Drew. That's all you ever do.
My biggest question mark is Aaron Boone and how he handles
because he's the first
this pitching staff.
No, I mean, of course. You have a brand new coach.
Yeah.
You know what? I good call because I wanted to mention this, but I just always forget. I don't like that they let go of Girardi.
Oh, I hated that.
After look, if you're planning on adding people like Stanton, that means you're getting a brand new team with power. You've changed your team. You've added such huge talent. Give Girardi a chance to manage this club. He's proven he can take you to a World Series. I get it. He lost in a series that he wasn't supposed to. The Indians, against the... Not even that. I don't even get where the heck it came from. He made a couple of bad calls in the Indian series. They still won.
Yeah.
And then they did really well. They exceeded expectations last year.
This was a personal move.
Right. It had to be. Because it's so unfair because he's a good manager. Yeah. You know he is. And honestly, the fact
that... the players loved him.
Right. The fact that he's not signed yet kind of shocks me. But then again, there are no teams right now looking for that coach to take him to the next level.
I think he's done coaching. What? I think he wants to move to the Joe Torre because he's always said he wants to be in the head office. He wants to be in MLB offices.
You know who he is to me? He's not a transition coach. He's a winning coach. So that to me, like if I was a White Sox in a couple of years when I'm ready to compete, I call Girardi up and I'm like, yo,
I probably do.
Coach us. It's kind of like Terry Francona with the Indians. They had like these in-between coaches who were just teaching the team as they grew, and then the moment they were ready to compete, they were like, "Oh, Francona, come here."
If I was a White Sox, I'd try going Girardi or I'd go Showalter, the Orioles.
Exactly. You get that winning coach right when you're ready to be a competitive baseball team. That if I love Ricky Renteria, but man. In 2 years, when the White Sox are ready, I'm hitting Girardi up. I'm like, yo.
But Girardi has even said he wants to either go into the broadcasting or he wants to go into.
But that's just now.
The major league offices.
That's now, man. That's now. That's me. He's not going to.
That's now. I mean, to me, I know Aaron Boone has a lineage. I know he's great baseball knowledge.
Yankees pedigree too. Not greatness, but he knows the organization.
I'm sure as a Yankees fan, you probably, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying as a Yankees fan
In
listening
general,
in general, you probably love the move because he is Yankees pedigree.
Right.
But I have to be hesitant of the move because this is not the freaking Kansas City Royals.
Right.
This is the New York Yankees we're talking about, and you're putting a first-year manager.
Right. And for the team that's ready to compete for the World Series.
For the team that's already ready, that was one game away
from going
to the World Series.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Like
that's a risk.
That's a huge risk.
That's a risk. Yeah.
A huge risk, and it makes me think: how much is it Cashman? Yeah. Cashman, right?
Yeah.
How much is Cashman gonna like? How much authority and how much decision making is gonna come from the top? Which I'm scared of because that can ruin a team.
Right. You want it run by the guys who are watching the game.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and I mean, I'm anxious to see this because, like I said, I don't hate the Yankees as much as I did back in the 90s. This team is all farm-run talent, pretty much. And it's a great team, don't get me wrong. I don't like the fact they picked up Stanton because that's just a move. But at the same time, we could be seeing...
They added 59 home runs and 132 casually.
I get
without
that.
Giving away anything.
But how many strikes did they add, too?
A lot of strikeouts.
I'm telling you, these guys, those guys are going to have over 300 strikeouts.
Can I move on to the hitting now?
Go ahead. Go talk about Greg Bird. Is that who you're going to talk about?
Not Greg Bird. Aaron Judge. What the hell? That's my question. Like, seriously. Aaron Judge had a phenomenal season last year. 52 home runs, 114 RBIs. The question is, do you think it's sustainable?
That's a hard question.
Without bias, like a serious, like
without bias.
Look at him as a player and be like, does this guy have the capacity year to year to hit close to 350 home runs, 120 RBIs?
It depends on pitching staffs if they're gonna and it's funny because I was watching Aaron Judge the other day. I was watching highlights of Aaron Judge and all his home runs.
Yeah,
they're all fastballs. That's all it was.
Right.
Like
he can just turn on.
He can turn on a fastball, and it's an amazing job that he does on a fastball. He can hit him some. I mean, you leave a breaking ball hanging. You leave this. He had some of those too, but you throw it down and away.
He's in trouble.
You threw it up and away. He's in trouble.
Right.
The kid's in trouble.
Right.
And some pitching staffs know how to pitch to that. Some pitching staffs don't.
Right.
But is there room for improvement? Yes.
Which is scary.
Which is very scary.
Right.
But if people know how to pitch to him, could he regress a little?
Yes.
Yes. And, I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to go from being Aaron Judge to being...
the worst player in baseball.
The worst, yeah. I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying that he goes to, like, a...
Middle player.
Like, I mean, what Troy Tulowitzki was hitting nowadays. But I'm just sitting...
Would you say, like, worst case for him is, like, 260, like, 28 home runs and, like, 80 RBIs?
I could say worst case scenario, yeah. I mean, he's going to top your 25 homer mark, definitely.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Because he's got just so much pure power.
Absolutely. But I think what people saw last year and what people saw when he hit his slump and what people saw when he hit into the playoffs,
right?
I think he's going to have more strikeouts this year.
That's fair.
I think he's going to have a lot more ground balls this year.
Because you did see that in the playoffs.
I saw that in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, you saw the pitchers.
That's what I'm scared of.
They threw so much off speed to him.
This guy is great for the majors. And this guy is great for the Yankees.
He's fun.
Because he's fun to watch. He's a good kid. He has a charismatic attitude.
Yeah.
But I'm scared for him because...
It reminds me of Blake Griffin.
You start getting these pitchers that pitch him those breaking pitches and those well-positioned players that are out of his reach, man, this kid can have a really hard year. And you add that with Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton is already
a great hitter.
And he's pretty much already cemented to his sustainability.
He is who he is.
He is who he is. He is a high strikeout player too.
But it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Giancarlo Stanton is still a well hitter.
He's almost a 60 home run guy.
Yeah, he is. I mean, the guy's amazing. You're going to see a lot of home runs in friggin' New York. In New York
with Gary Sanchez.
Yes, that's the guy. So here's the two questions I have on the offensive side. Actually, I probably have three. But
you have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I do have a lot of questions. And maybe some of you guys can answer this for me, but I'm just playing. Gary Sanchez.
They can't answer them, Drew.
Gary Sanchez is one of those guys that I'm also scared for. He's a young talent. He's a great catcher. Defensively, I'm not a big fan of his catching skills.
He's an offensive catcher.
He's an offensive catcher.
Yes, yeah.
But, man, he hit a slump in the playoffs, and I don't know what that was.
Yeah, but it's the playoffs, man.
It is the playoffs.
I'm not going to try and predict an entire season based off of playoff performance.
But if you also notice, it was all breaking pitches.
Right.
And he couldn't hit a single one of them.
No, I get it, but we kind of have to remember that in the playoffs, these guys are facing ace pitchers.
Oh, I get that.
In the regular
season,
you're
not going to be facing that day in, day out.
You're not facing those guys every day. So,
but if you're facing a guy with a decent slider, and I say decent, not you're not Corey Kluber slider, or you're not Kershaw slider type thing. You just have a decent slider. As a pitcher going into the game facing Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, you pitch them nothing but sliders. You make them freaking try and hit, and make them try and see if they can walk.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I do if I was a pitcher.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to pitch them a fastball down the middle.
Right.
Or around the knees, because these guys can turn on it.
Right.
So, I don't know. He's one question. Greg Bird is my biggest what if. Because here's the thing.
He lit up the minor leagues.
Well, he was a higher prospect than Aaron Judge and Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
So, he's the one that can have a... If he hits better than what he did last year, this team is very hard to beat. But he has to prove it. He didn't do as well in the regular season last year. So that's one of those things. Him, Sanchez, Aaron Hicks is the other one that I'm kind of concerned about. He has the power. He has the raw power, but I don't know if it's one of those things that is sustainable as well.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as me goes, other than their position questions, their third base and second field and second base, their third base and second base, that's my questions for them.
I get that. I really do. I get the argument. I'm not... You can find question marks in this team if you wanted to, and we've kind of discussed it, but I really think we're trying. We're trying really hard.
No, absolutely.
This team is going to be, in my opinion, improved over last year, where they only had, low 90s wins. They gave them second. So you can say, no team is perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect baseball team. There are going to be holes in every baseball team. And I agree with you. There are question marks about, is Aaron Judge the real deal? Is Luis Severino the real deal? I think he is, but, I guess we'll see. Is Gary Sanchez the real deal? We'll see with him too. And is Greg Bird going to be a good player for them? I'm not sure about that either. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. Like, I'm looking at this team as is. I'm seeing them improving into the mid-90s at worst, high 90s to low 100s at best. And I think they're going to be the powerhouse of the East for the foreseeable future. I mean, obviously the Red Sox, and we're going to get into them in a couple of seconds, they're going to be their competition. But, it's the Red Sox are going to be buying their competition. The Yankees are going to be bringing their competition up. So with that transition into the Red Sox, let's go ahead and get into them. They had a 93-69 record. Payroll, higher payroll than the Yankees at $197 million. Ranked third. They were injured a lot last year. They had a combined 1,390 days spent on injury, with ranked 26th in the major leagues. However, farm system, unlike the Yankees, they don't really have anything down there. I mean, they're ranked 24th, which is okay if you want to just say something about a farm system, but they don't have any immediate talent that you're looking at and you're saying, oh wow, that talent's going to be incredible. I mean, they did call up Rafael Devers, who, for all intents and purposes, looks like he's going to be a freaking stud.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they did kind of deplete their farm system a little bit by calling him up. But you and I discussed this earlier, and you kind of said that the reason why you can't really compare their farm system to the Yankees is because most of the talent that they had is already called up, and they still have a relatively young team that's already ready to compete, and they do. Yeah.
To me, like with me, I think, like you said, they are competing for the top spot in the East. I think they have a good chance. I mean, I still think this team is capable of beating the Yankees in the East. I think one of these two teams will hit the wild card definitely. Yeah. But to me, with this team, they have a little more playing time together. Yeah. Their pitching staff is a big question because their pitching staff is the one that suffered tremendously with the injuries.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, if David Price is healthy, if Rick Porcello is healthy, if Pomeranz is healthy,
100-win team.
Oh man, this team is crazy good. Yeah, with their pitching staff, their middle relief pitchers, you have Matt Barnes, Thornburg, Kelly. Those guys are good. Those guys are really good.
But not a great.
Not a great.
I mean, obviously Kimbrel's incredible, but
Yes, but he's out for half the season.
right.
So he's already
problematic.
a big question mark right there. So
Right.
that could hinder them.
Right.
And that could be a big blow to this team. But as far as their offense goes, man, they're stacked. Like,
yeah, I really like.
and they, like I said, they've been playing together for a long time. And the bad thing that you say to this is Pedroia's going to be out for a little bit. He's still going to be out. I think, maybe a month or two is that what they're saying.
But they can afford to lose him.
They can afford to. I mean, you have Betts, Benintendi, Bogarts, Moreland, Ramirez, Devers, Bradley. I mean, they're stacked.
Yeah, they have a lot of good offense.
Yeah. The only problem, like you said, you can't plug and play.
No.
Not like the Yankees.
No, and what surprises me, let's not say anything yet about the Yankees, the Red Sox potential, because they're still in the hunt for JD Martinez. So this team could potentially, in a split second, add 30 to 40 home runs and 100 ribbies to this lineup. So I mean, that not only will that completely annul the loss of Dustin Pedroia, it'll improve their team.
So I mean, okay, so let's look at that. Let's say they do get a JD Martinez. What do you do? Like, where do you put him in the outfield? Do you move Hanley to first base and then Mitch Moreland's your bench guy?
Yeah.
And then JD's your
Which is kind of saying
DH?
something because he hit 22 home runs and 76 RBIs.
I mean, that's a lot. Or do you put...
You know what I would do with the Red Sox?
What's that?
I absolutely would slot in JD. I would take Mitch Moreland. I would try to trade Moreland for bullpen arms.
That
is obviously your deficiency at the moment.
Yeah.
So trade for that. Get yourself some nice quality bullpen. Account for the loss of Kimbrel for the for half the season.
That's true. That's a good point.
You don't have to worry about having too many people on the bench who are good and talented, and you have the arms.
Yeah.
And there are people who will bite on Mitch Moreland.
That's a very good point. Yeah, because there's no way you put any one of those guys in the outfield. Not when you're talking to Betts, Benintendi, and Bradley Jr.
They will
out there.
kill them defensively. They will cost the team games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Based on their you cannot put those guys are first basemen.
Yeah.
And DH. They're not meant for
these
the
guys
outfield.
are probably the best outfielder. One of the best outfields in the league.
Yeah, so why ruin that with these crap?
Because you're not going to put that. So you're going to have to. You're either going to have to sit one of those guys on the bench,
trade them.
or you trade them. Like that's a good point. You trade them for
you trade it for
arms,
for pitching talent,
you
for
trade
relief
them for arms. That's a damn good point. They have another question mark, just like the Yankees, in the manager. Alex Cora. I love Alex Cora,
but that guy has pedigree. I mean, I get your point, man, but he has pedigree and people back him up. Like he just has a lot of clout in baseball.
Absolutely, he does.
He's got hype behind him, and I think it's justifiable.
And he knows what he's doing.
Right.
I'm not saying Aaron Boone doesn't. Don't take that what I'm saying.
Because wasn't he a really big part of the Astros franchise?
Oh yeah.
Like weren't people really high on him in that? Like they said that a lot of the success of the Astros was attributable to the fact
that's the thing is they are saying that if Finch wasn't living up to par,
they would replace him with Cora. No, and that Cora looks like a player's coach. He reminds me of Madden a little bit.
Yeah.
He looks like he has the capacity to connect to players.
Yeah.
So I get it. He's an unknown. So we can't just say the Red Sox are going to benefit from him yet. But from what I know about him, I would actually say they're going to be better because of him.
I think so.
Because he's a good coach, and he's a player's coach.
I think so. And I think if they stay healthy,
they're going to be good.
I think, and you'll probably disagree with me, and I'm glad you will. I think they're better than the Yankees.
No, that's not possible.
I think so, man. I mean, and that's not saying anything biased. That's just saying, that's me saying, you have the star power on the Yankees, and you have the home runs, and you have all this.
Can I say?
Yeah.
I agree with you on a pitching perspective, because if and pitching wins championships and they win titles and they win divisions. So I live by that mantra. So do I agree on a certain point that that's possible? Is that possible? Yes, because they have Chris Sale, David Price, Rick Porcello, and Drew Pomeranz. That 1 to 4. No offense to the Yankees, but lining up, you got Luis Severino. You have Tanaka.
Sabathia.
You have Sabathia and Gray. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you can't line that up.
On paper, you lose that battle.
Sale better than Severino. I'm sorry, Severino. Talent wise, maybe one day he'll be as good or better. Who knows? David Price
better than
sure
Tanaka.
as hell is better than Tanaka. at his best. Rick Porcello, better than Sabathia. At this age, he should be, dude. He'll have a comeback at 30.
I hope he has a comeback. Because if he has a comeback, then they're our team to beat.
Drew Pomeranz over Sonny Gray, that's actually a tough one.
That's probably a wash. That's more of a wash.
That's a tie. But Chris Sale and David Price over their front two. You'll take that.
Absolutely, I'd take that.
So, in that sense, I think you have a good point. But you want to know why the Yankees will win.
The relief pitchers.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm sorry, especially if they don't change the Kimbrel situation.
Yeah.
I mean, the Yankees will win on the merits of that incredible bullpen.
Yeah.
Because, again, for the Yankees, games end in the 5th inning. If the Yankees are up after the 5th inning by 1 or 2 runs, that's it. The game's over.
That's a good point.
They don't need to worry about a damn thing because they put in that bullpen and they win the game. The Red Sox, on the other hand, those pitchers better be ready to go 7 deep, 8 deep. First of all, that'll tax your arm for the rest of the season. 1. 2, you don't have a consistent bullpen, so if you get into that 7th inning, there's no guarantee, unless Kimbrel's in there, that you're necessarily going to close that game out with the same success rate as the Yankees. So while you will have a guy like Chris Sale and David Price pitching into those later innings, I mean, the guarantees aren't there like they are with the Yankees. And that's what scares me about the Red Sox. I agree with you. There is an outside chance that the Red Sox are still a better team, divisionally speaking, than the Yankees. However, even if they are, the team as it's built right now, I don't trust the Red Sox when it comes to the playoffs. Not because I don't think they have the arms for it, but personally, I don't trust Chris Sale. Chris Sale, to me, he pitched for the White Sox. I loved him. I was a huge fan of him. But I've always noticed a tendency with him. When he pitched in big games, he never showed up. He seems to me a player of that, kind of like that Washington Nationals mentality.
Yeah.
Like, he would fit in well with that club because he doesn't, for some reason, when it comes to the big moment, he doesn't show up.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we saw it against Houston.
Right. And there's a player like him, if he shows up with all the talent he has, he'll blow teams away. He'll win you that title. He should be winning you that title. The same way Kershaw should be winning you title after title.
Yeah.
But sometimes, just because they're great in the regular season doesn't mean they're going to pan out in the playoffs. And that's what worries me about them. And I really haven't seen that from Price either. I don't know if they have the team right now that's built to win titles.
I mean, it's a good point. I like your point. I can see it planning out like that. That the relief pitchers, I mean, that's the biggest gap between these two teams is the relief pitching. No doubt. I mean, and I'm just talking regular season. I'm not talking like the farm systems or stuff like that. Offensively, I think from top to bottom, Boston's a little better. Right. They don't have the power yet. Now if they get a JD Martinez, that's a different story. Yeah. But they don't have the power and the home run numbers like the Yankees do. But I think from top to bottom, especially when you're talking the Yankees are going to be bringing in a Torres, a Gleyber Torres, a Miguel Andujar, guys like that who aren't proven. They're proven in the minors.
But they're not proven in the majors.
They're not proven in the majors.
Good point.
These guys are better from top to bottom batting-wise, and especially for a player like Mookie Betts who can still get better, Andrew Benintendi who can still get better, Bogarts who can still get better. Like, it's scary. It's scary how this team is. But like you say,
good point.
Let's say the game was 3-2 and the Yankees were down 1, you could still bring in the relief pitcher, and you're pretty much saying that other team's going to stay at 3.
Yeah.
So I can totally see that. I think this is a great race for 1 and 2. I mean, this is going to be a fun. This Red Sox-Yankees rivalry is back on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's
about to get bad.
It's about to get bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's about to get real bad.
Because
but it's not going to last a long time.
No.
Because Yankees are set up.
Yeah.
This team is not.
The Red Sox are going to have to rebuild their farm system.
I mean, it's not even rebuilding their farm system.
They're going to have to build it.
They're going to have to. They're just paying, dude.
Right.
That's all they're doing.
Right. They're either going to become that team that everyone hates.
Or
they're going to have to find a way to build their farm system up.
Absolutely. But you cannot build your farm system up until you
start sucking. Yeah. Or start getting rid
of your top talent.
Right.
So I don't think Red Sox are willing to do that.
No.
Management for Red Sox are never willing to do that. So I think you're going to start seeing major pushes, I guess, for big names.
Well, and that's the thing. The Red Sox, see, teams like that, like the old Yankees, the Red Sox now, who just used to throw money at the problem, there's no more room for those teams to succeed.
No.
Nowadays, power teams exist only if you have money and you have talent in the farm system. That's it. That's the only way you can create a serious team. So while the Red Sox are always going to be good to above average, if they do not build farm system to plug in their holes, they will never be great.
No, I don't know.
That's
true. I get that.
All the great teams now, the Cubs are kind of starting to get into that bind now where if they don't either start building that farm system back up.
They don't have a farm system.
No, they don't have a farm. But you can't blame them because what they did was they built that farm system, got a super talented team, and now they traded pieces away to get a better team. So it's still the same idea. They'll have time to rebuild it now while they're succeeding over there in the big leagues. Well, they just won't have the highest draft picks to do it.
Do we have anything to talk about the Red Sox, or are we going to move?
No,
that's a good transition
we're
going to move.
We're going to move in right now. First, before we move in there, we discussed the Red Sox here. Let's go ahead and give our team predictions. Our AL East predictions.
Okay.
Give me your one. Your
1 through 5.
1 through 5. Who you got?
Okay, I'm still going to go Boston. I know you're going to disagree with me with that, but I'm going to go Boston, New York.
Okay.
Well, shit. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to say Boston, New York, because I think they end up getting J.D. Martinez. I think they're going to end up getting him.
Not enough for me, but
okay. I think it's going to be Boston, New York, but it's going to be very close.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be Toronto, Tampa, Baltimore.
That's fine. That's a good division. I have the Yankees winning the division by 5 games, so it's not going to be close. The Red Sox coming in. The Yankees are going to win close to 100 games. The Red Sox are going to win at like 94. And then it's going to be the Blue Jays, like you said. It's going to be the Rays, and it's going to be the Orioles, like you said. And I will give credit. There's a possibility that the Orioles could be 4th and the Rays could be 5th. Small chance, but the way I'm seeing it now, the Rays could possibly have a worse record. But
that's if they trade Archer.
Exactly.
If they trade Archer, then I agree with you. Right. If they don't, then no.
Exactly.
But I think Toronto stays on top. Baltimore's pitching staff, starting and relief, is just it's not going to work.
All right. So we got our predictions in. Let's go ahead and get into our final segment for the beer review here. We just want to talk about that brief addition by your Cubbies of Yu Darvish. So we've been talking about Yu Darvish for a while. I guess that's kind of what we were predicting for a long time.
Because we've been waiting for free agency to happen.
I guess for a long time, because the Cubs weren't making any moves, we were saying, oh man, the Brewers.
They're screwed.
Yeah, they're screwed. So are the Cubs now, in your opinion, like complete favorites? Like, do you see them as no matter what they're going to win the division?
As of today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And I say that with the little grain of salt because there's still pitchers out there that the Mariners, I'm not the Mariners, sorry, the Brewers can pick up. And I'm talking the Brewers because they seem like the only team that is willing to go out and get some talent. I think the Cardinals did it in the trades, and then Cardinals are like, we're done. I think we're good with this team.
Yeah,
that's what I have a feeling.
After Ozuna?
After Ozuna, it was like, we're good. No, and you can't do that. I think the Cardinals are playing for 3rd and 4th. I think they're playing for 3rd base. I don't think they have enough to compete with the 2 teams now at top. Brewers, if they go out and get an Arrieta, Lance Lynn, an Alex Cobb, one of those players, I think then we're still talking that this division is undecided. So
at the moment, you're not 100% sure.
As of today, if I had to make a decision today and no other things are going to be final, I would say Cubs are at the number 1.
Yeah, I definitely. I don't think that should be questioned. I think if you're a legitimate baseball fan, if you're serious, you're looking at the lineups, you're like, okay, obviously the Cubs, they have the pedigree, they've done it for a while, they have the reputation, you give them the benefit of the doubt. You don't just automatically assume just because the Brewers added a couple of players, okay, well now they're better.
Yeah.
You always, in my opinion, give the benefit of the doubt to the teams that have proven themselves.
Yes.
That's just how I see it. It's only until the teams beat them out, that's when you can start questioning those teams.
Yeah.
So for now, the Cubs, even if they didn't add Darvish, I was always going to say the Cubs are going to win the division. We did say that. We predicted them to win the division. Granted, that was before the Brewers added Kane and what's his name? Why am I not remembering the name?
Kane and Yelich.
Yelich, yeah. That was before they added Kane and Yelich, but I mean, at that point in time, I still would have said the Cubs, but by like a very scant margin. It would have been like maybe a game or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It would have been like a record of like 90 and 72 to like 87 and whatever the hell the difference is. I'm sorry, I can't do that. 87 and 75. So that would have been like the difference of like maybe 3 games at most, because the Brewers are that much better.
Yeah.
But if Darvish is a good base, not good. I shouldn't say good. Good's a limiting word.
Mm-hmm.
He's like an inch below great, but that's good enough to put the Cubs back into being the best team in the NL Central. So
I think Darvish is a great pitcher.
Well, great. What is your comparative feel like?
I mean, I'm talking.
Are you
great
saying
pitcher
Kershaw, Sale, like Syndergaard, like those kind of pitchers? You think that he's in the same category?
I think he's in the same category as Sale and Syndergaard.
No,
I think Kershaw's in a league of his own.
I think
you
can make that argument, but there's no way.
I think he is. I think he's up there. But here's my caveat.
That's not right.
It's to me, when it comes to playoffs, he's still not the same.
Okay, I know you are not a big guy of like super deep analytics, but let me go ahead and give you like a kind of a perspective. You know what wins above replacement?
Of course I do.
Right? So Chris Sale had a 7.2 last year. Let's go ahead and Darvish was on the Dodgers, right? But go ahead, keep on talking, man. While I look this shit up.
While you go through your analytics book. There's not like an index where you can just find his name.
Yeah, there is. Go ahead, dude. Keep on talking. You're letting these people sit there Jesus.
The other, I mean, to me, he's a great pitcher.
Yeah.
He's a great strikeout pitcher.
Yeah. Comparatively speaking, Clayton Kershaw had a 4.4 WAR. Chris Sale had a 7.2. And that means Chris Sale had a better season. But Kershaw's a better pitcher, but Chris Sale had a better season. What I'm saying is you're putting...
But that also says that Kershaw has that Sale has a crappier replacement.
What?
That's what that's saying.
What are you talking about?
Wins above replacement?
Yeah.
It's how many wins can you get over the next guy that comes in for you.
Darvish had a 1.3.
Okay.
Come on,
Darvish was with the Dodgers. That's what I'm saying. Dodgers had a better pitching staff.
3.9 with the Rangers. I'm sorry.
Dodgers had a better pitching staff with the Red Sox. The Red Sox had Price, but when you're talking about wins over replacement or wins above replacement, it's about how many wins would you get over the next guy that comes in after you.
Okay.
Dodgers had a badass pitching system.
So did the Red Sox.
Not last year.
Well, but it's not, Drew, it's not saying comparatively to your team. That's not what it compares it to. Wins above replacement is an average thing, so it's for all of baseball. It doesn't just compare you to your team.
Well, it's not just your team, but I'm talking like as far as replacements go.
No, but it's not replacing it over your team. It's replacing it over like baseball.
No, I think
it's like picking like the average, like wins above replacement over the average.
There's
pitcher.
no way Chris Sale.
Yes, it is, dude.
I would not put Chris Sale in a Kershaw.
Did you see Chris Sale's number? He had 308 Ks last year, a 2.90 ERA, and 17 record.
But I mean, look at that.
Of
at the same time, Kershaw was out for how long? Kershaw was out. Kershaw did not pitch as many innings as Sale.
But that's that'll do harm to your WAR. No one said. But Drew, I'm not saying that he's better than Kershaw. I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying that still Chris Sale's in his own league. There's a Kershaw league, there's a Sale league, and then there's everyone else. No, I'm deathly serious when I say this, dude. Okay. You're putting Darvish into a league that's completely uncalled for.
I'm not putting him in the Kershaw league.
No, because do you think Darvish is an ace? You think he's a number one?
I think he's a number one.
You think he's a number one?
I think he's a number one.
Come on.
I think Darvish is a number one.
Come on, man.
Honestly,
when you think of aces, you think of Syndergaard, you think of Sale, you think of freaking what's his name, Kershaw. You do not think of Darvish.
Yes, you do. I mean, you don't think of Darvish when it comes to playoffs.
Good call. This is what I think about. I think about Jacob deGrom. That's who I would compare it to you, Darvish. A really, really good pitcher, but not a superstar.
Hold on. Let's look up something here.
Okay. Drew's going to do some looking up for you guys, and he doesn't know what he's talking about, so it's going to be for nothing. Drew, what do you know, man?
Well, aren't you going to talk?
Well, hold on. Okay. Anyway, let me kind of go over then the Darvish thing a little bit more. in clarity, I guess, to my point. Look, he's historically a good pitcher. He's got great numbers.
He's historically a good
number 2.
He's a historically number good regular season pitcher.
Right, regular season.
That's where I'm getting to. Because even when he was with the Rangers,
he wasn't a great
postseason player.
Right. So, do I think the Cubs are going to be first place? Yes. I'm not taking anything away from the Cubs. The Cubs are still the best team in the NL Central. All I'm saying is, even with his addition, come playoff time, he's not going to be able to compete with the number 1 pitchers because he's going to be the guy who starts your first game. And that's a problem. You cannot have him starting your first game. You need a stud to start your first game. You need a guy like Kershaw. You need a guy like Sale. You need a guy like Syndergaard. That's who you want. You need a guy like...
You just said Chris Sale sucks in the big games.
Sure, but what I'm saying is that talent, like Arrieta, like a guy... Okay, with that mentality, Darvish doesn't yet.
Darvish doesn't have that mentality.
But maybe he will. Maybe he will. He has the talent for it.
Yeah.
So, does he have the capacity? Yes. For now, it hasn't been proven. So, maybe in a year, when the Cubs are in the playoffs, Game 1 of the NLDS, he's facing the... not the Dodgers. Who will they play? From the AL. They will play the Nationals. Again, it's a repeat. And the Nationals are just... They want to choke. And Darvish over there like, yeah, I'm going to make you choke. And then he makes him choke. He pitches 8 innings, 0 runs, 20 strikeouts, record, baseball, and the Cubs win Game 1. That's all I'm giving you. But
all right.
Anyway,
one more big move. I don't want to say it's a huge move, but it's a move. Back to my conversation of the NL East last year.
Yeah.
Mets added Todd Frazier.
Okay, that's not gonna do anything.
I think that's a good move for them, man. It's third base,
good,
better bat. I think I'm talking. I know I was talking shit about how they're gonna make up a lot of games. I think their pitching staff stays healthy. I think they make up a lot of games.
Okay, so you're obviously the high on the Mets guy.
I'm a high on the Mets guy.
So we have a separation of beliefs here.
I'm high on the Mets guy.
I'm gonna keep on buying low.
I mean, they're not. I still don't think, like I said, I still don't think they're gonna compete with the Nationals.
So basically, you're saying, but kind of insane.
But I'm kind of saying. Okay. There's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yes, I'm saying there's a chance.
Okay, so I'm going to say there's no chance. And let's go ahead and move on to the last segment here. As always, Drew, you and I just cannot keep this damn podcast under an hour and a half.
Well, I think we're done with all the divisions.
Yeah.
So now we're going to just start talking baseball,
but it's going to be worse, because then you and I are going to be like, the best player ever is...
Well, screw it. They can listen to an hour
Sammy
and a half.
Sosa.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to bring this up. Yeah, good call. I'm going to bring this up to the camera right here. We have this resin 7-point. Is that what it's called? 7-point?
No, 6-point brewery.
6-point, my bad. 6-point brewery from Brooklyn. Drew, tell me what you think.
I like this beer a lot. It's good. It's hoppy, but not overly hoppy.
No, it's not like Chingon.
It's not like Chingon, Chingon,
which is all hops.
Yeah, it's not all hops. It's a little malty. There's a hint of sweetness in the beginning, but not an overpowering sweetness like the Centennial IPA. That one was too hard. It has a fruitiness. Has a nice little fruity kick in the middle. Finishes nice. Finishes strong and crisp and neat. But I don't know if after, and you can talk on this a little bit if you feel it too. At the end when you're tasting it, the finishing product, there's a little spice to it.
Yes.
Which I'm a fan of. Like, I like in this.
Okay.
So, what do you think?
Let me go ahead and tell you something about this resin beer right here. Okay, so this beer right here, guys, it's a good beer. It's a great beer. It's delicious. I would give it all the ratings if I could. But, drawback, as Drew just said, you do get that slight spicy kick at the end, which is weird to me, and it's new. What I like about hoppy beers, what I like about IPAs is that they start out kind of rough. They hit you hard initially, and then they kind of smooth out. And that's why, the reason why I think IPAs are perfect is that you can eat them with like a really good red meat, like a steak, a really nice steak, and they balance out the flavor of steak because they start out strong and then they just get this like smooth, I guess caramelized almost to me. But I mean, obviously it's different. Sometimes hoppy flavors, they're different type of like fruit flavor, whatever, they just have different end notes. But this beer, it gives you that initial kick, but it's not a strong one, which is different for me for an IPA of this kind of caliber. And then it levels out for a little bit, and then it just kicks you in the end with a little bit of spice. So it's interesting because I've never had that taste before from a beer, and it's delicious. So I'm not going to go ahead and act like this is the worst beer I've ever had, but it's definitely a little bit different. So do I like it?
So it's a spice that's different for you.
Yeah, the spice is a little different for me. Do I like it? Absolutely. Would I drink this again? Oh, man. Not only would I drink it again, I will buy 2 6-packs and I just drink it by myself.
Have a good night.
Oh, yeah. You'd have a great night off of 2 6-packs of this. This is a beer that deserves to be in my list on a top, whatever beer list on my possibility.
So far, you know what? This is tied with me with El Chingon. This is a 9.5 for me.
Wow. A 9.5 for you? Man.
But see, like, it's the crispiness. There's a little fruitiness. Not a lot of sweet. I like the little spiciness. It's not a hard spice, guys. Don't think that it's like a fucking like a pepper. It's not. There's just a little zing that you have in the back of your mouth.
Which is the name of Drew's dog.
What?
It's pepper. It's pepper.
So this is a damn good beer.
It's a damn good beer.
Good beer. But you know what? I will tell you this. And the guy at the spec store was really correct.
He nailed it.
9.1. I don't feel it.
No.
I'm not a...
This feels like a 7, 6.5.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm feeling it a little bit in my overall character, but I'm not feeling it in the taste.
I'm not. Now, if I had 6 of these, that's a different fucking story.
Ooh.
That's a very
you
different story.
and I would be running up and down the streets right now, yelling like, "Go White Sox!" or "Go Cubs!" or Astros. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and give this thing.
We're going streaking.
Yeah. Okay, we're not gonna do that. That will look unseemly. We're not exactly the most beautiful people in the world, Drew. Me and you.
I know about you though.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this one an 8. It's a damn good beer.
That's it.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
You're a bitch.
Wait, what did I give El Chingon? Did I give El Chingon?
You gave him a 9.
Oh hell no! Then this gets a 9.25. This is
you like this one better than Chingon?
Yes.
Okay.
This gets a 9.25. I'm sorry. Knowing I forgot about that I gave El Chingon.
I need to put these on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That's what I need to do.
Well, it's okay. We have them down on Instagram for now. We can kind of create one later when we finish up the website or whatever. Which, again, will happen much later, guys. Yeah. So don't take my word for it. But anyway, so I'm going to give it a 9.25. We're allowed to go on the quarter variables. So let's go ahead and close up shop here, guys. Thank you for listening to our 9th podcast. Our AL East preview was a hell of a lot of fun. As always, please do not forget to subscribe and listen to our podcast on iTunes, on Google Play, on Stitcher, on TuneIn, on SoundCloud. Also, check out our videos on YouTube. I have not updated that in the last episode. I will go ahead and upload both of them coming up here this weekend on Sunday. Well, you'll hear it when you hear it on Sunday, so it won't make a damn difference. But also make sure to follow our Instagram account where we have our beers updated. Then our Twitter and our Facebook. We always
Instagram.
I just said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, the beer.
And you know what? I have to say, guys, we haven't been totally in depth with our Instagram and Twitter accounts because we're like we said, we're both in school.
Yeah.
Full-time school, and it's getting low. So,
but communicate with us because we do have notifications on. So if you guys want to communicate, because I know you're listening, we're lucky enough to also be able to track some of our listenership, and thank you guys for listening. Honestly, it really means a lot that even though we don't get thousands of listens, we get a couple hundred here or there, and that makes us happy. Whoever's listening to this, thank you. Communicate with us. Talk baseball. We love conversation. Anybody on Twitter? I got on a conversation on Twitter with a person last week. We talked some AL East baseball and NL East baseball. NL West and AL West. I'm sorry, and that was a hell of a conversation on Twitter. And, that's what we like to do. We want to communicate with you guys. So, hit us up. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up via email. Drew, email?
cheapseatguys@gmail.com.
Yeah, hit us up over there. We can communicate you guys there. Or, again, just on the widget front, go to www.cheapseats, plural seats, cheapseatspodcast.libsyn.com, and you guys will find the widgets to all respective social media sites as well as podcast sites over there. Finally, before we sign off here, guys, next week, obviously, since it's spring training time, we're about to start talking spring training baseball.
Yep.
And
next week, if you guys do watch baseball, next week is Nationals versus Astros on Friday. That's the first spring training game.
Yep.
And at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Correct. And we're also going to, I think baseball season for college teams starts up next week.
College teams, I think the missions start up here in the next couple weeks too. So you'll
we're-
be seeing some pictures on our Instagram, Twitters.
Well, and we're going to talk about it. We're going
yeah.
to hopefully get some interviews in for you guys. We'll start talking, asking the players there to just give us their life experiences.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good time.
Anybody listening to us from the Chicago area, we will be at Guaranteed Rate Field.
Yeah.
On April
21st, 22nd, something like that. Yeah, Sunday against the Astros.
Well, I'll be taking a Cubs tour of Wrigley Field. I am going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Wait, like after the game? Let's do it after the game.
Yeah, fucking let's do it after the game.
Yeah, so that way, because we're gonna go to Wrigleyville to drink anyway.
Okay,
so.
let's do it after the game.
Anyway, yeah, so we'll tape that for you guys. And
you guys, if there by chance anyone's listening from Chicago, you want to meet us out there?
Yeah, well, we're gonna have the gathering. Anyway, as always, guys, thank you so much for listening. It was a heck of a ride. It was a heck of a lot of fun. You'll hear us on Sunday, and we'll see you guys next week.
Cheers from the cheap seats, guys.
Cheers from the cheap seats, guys.
Did you stop?
Mm-hmm.
I got a phone.